Good afternoon, everyone. I am Lyndon Wilson, creator of The Difference radio live stream and podcast. For those of you who may be watching for the first time, we created The Difference a little over 2 years ago. We were doing some video branding that turned into a radio show. When COVID hit, we turned it into a media company that is designed to help small businesses, entrepreneurs, many people in the real estate industry. We help them with brand exposure and brand development. And what we're trying to do with The Difference and what we've done successfully over the past 18 months is we've helped these small business owners connect with their communities and the communities that they serve. In 2020, we had a little over 600,000 viewers. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking that pay attention to social media. Most celebrities have that in one small tweet, and that is true. But we are just all amateur video folks, but we are professional small business owners. And so, 600,000 people, when you take a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing before, not too bad. And we continue to grow. So today I'm going to be hosting Real Talk. Unfortunately, Brian Poduska is en route to a destination and he wasn't going to be able to make it in time to host. And so I get to fill in. I get the honor of doing that. I hope I can do it justice because Brian does a great job. Co-host today, Kindra Strachan with Fair Texas Title, and Mark Karetskiy, loan officer Mark with Movement Mortgage. I'm going to bring them in just a second. But before I do, I want to remind everybody that we are still doing the giveaway. Okay, so let me pop this up. I want you to see this. In August, we will be doing a happy hour for the show Real Talk with Brian Poduska. All of our co-hosts will be there. Brian will be there. Our sponsors will be there. And we're going to be giving away a 7-night resort for up to 4 guests. That can be husband, wife, and 2 children, or it can be 4 adults. All you have to do to be entered into that drawing that we will host on the day of the happy hour is in the comment section. If you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook, just comment #RealTalk. Okay, so we're going to automatically be able to pick that up. We're going to run this this online drawing today. If you win, you will be in the drawing on the day of the happy hour. So we'll be running some scrolls to remind you of that, and make sure that you're aware of that. So we want everybody to be able to participate in that is interested. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring in Mark and Kindra. Good afternoon, friends. How are you doing?
Great. How are you, Lyndon?
I'm doing well. Trying to make sure I don't butcher Brian's show today. So I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to depend on both of y'all to help me out with that. But before we introduce your guest, I want you to take just a few seconds to tell everybody who you are and what you do. And while you both are talking, Kindra, I'm going to let you go first. And then I'm going to follow that up with Mark. And while y'all are doing that, I'm going to be doing some behind the scenes things. So I will be off screen. So Kindra, why don't you go ahead and share with everybody who you are and what you do?
Thanks, Lyndon. I appreciate it. Yes, I'm Kindra Strachan. I am with Fair Texas Title. I'm a sales executive with our company, and I cover basically 2 of our offices in Plano and North Dallas. And I get the honor and privilege of working with some amazing escrow officers in our offices, as well as our assistants and our team. We have about 10 employees just in our 2 offices. Now, mind you, Fair Texas Title has 11 throughout Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so what we love for our real estate agents and lenders to do is kind of find 1 or 2, or preferably 1 escrow officer that they love. And then we're able to courtesy close at some of their offices, as well as now because of COVID, mobile notary is really very, very common. And we're used to doing that. But basically, I get to help my real estate agents and lenders grow their business. And especially real estate agents. I get to help them with their farming and with their putting together flyers and with social media and just their marketing and making sure that they have what they need to be successful and to win that bid when they go out and they meet with a client to basically get that listing or to get that buyer. And our role also is to try to make their closing experience very smooth and amazing. And that's our new slogan this year is Fair Texas Title, the finest closing experience in Texas. And that's our goal. I have been in the real estate industry for about 10 years. I was a realtor myself for 3. So I know what it's like to write that contract and not win that bid. I know what it's like to have somebody ask me to take less commission and not respect it. So I feel like I've got a different view of it, and I'm able to assist my real estate agents even more so because I've walked in their shoes. I've sold homes for a home builder and have been in business development now with title for over 3 years. And I love it. This is my niche. I love real estate and grew up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And yes, it's changed a lot, but there are still ways to win those bids and to win those homes. I can promise you. But That's me. I'm just here at Fair Texas Title to help you grow.
Awesome. All right, Mark, let's hear from you.
Well, man, talk about how far we have all come. And Lyndon, kudos to you, man, for putting in all the work and effort and building the community and continuing to be a part of it and bringing myself in. My name is Mark Karetskiy. I'm a proud first-generation immigrant, but I've chopped off the long Russian last name, basically go by Loan Officer Mark on everything. I'm here in the Dallas area. I'm in the North Dallas kind of Plano area where we don't necessarily know what we are. I am a residential specialist. I work primarily with first-time home buyers, with a lot of veterans, a lot of move-up buyers recently, and a lot of first-time investors recently. Movement, talk about coming a long way. We started in 2008 last year. I think we were a top 5, top 6 purchase lender, and one of the only lenders that did more purchase than refinance last year. And incredibly proud of the team and everything that we've built, and really just here to try to pour into the market. Like Kindra was saying, winning offers recently has not been the easiest thing, but I have seen a little bit of softening, a little bit of changes, and we've implemented a lot of different tactics and strategies that are really helping our buyers overcome that. And as a result, obviously helping the agents move their business forward. I'm excited to bring on my guest, and I haven't formally met Kindra's guest, but I know he is a good time. So that's it for me. And Lyndon, tossing it back to you, my friend.
All right, man. Well, great introductions. I've known both of you now for quite a while. We worked together, and one of the reasons, when Brian and I were looking for co-hosts for the show, obviously you guys know that we talk so much about the difference between being transactional and being relational. And so the people that we put together on these shows and what you both have really focused on inviting the shows are those people that have that passion for developing good relationships and lasting relationships and serving people rather than being served. And so excited to meet both of your guests today. We met a little bit backstage before we got started, but now I'm going to give you a chance. Kindra, we're going to go with you first again. We're going to let you
Can I just point out how good Kindra looks right now with her hair just waving with the wind? It's incredible.
You're hilarious, Mark. Thanks. That's the fan behind me, because my office is the hottest office in this whole 10 office little area. So I have a fan
pull it off.
That's funny. You do look wonderful today, Kindra. You do. So
y'all are hilarious. Y'all feel me. All
right. So Kindra, who's your guest today? Tell me a little bit about Jeremiah and how you met, and then I'm going to bring him on, and then Mark, I'll let you do the same for Chris.
Awesome.
So Jeremiah Ozment, I met, and he goes by Sweetness, and I met Jeremiah at a networking event probably maybe 3 years ago in Frisco at the A-Loft, and it was just a happy hour networking event for people in the industry, and I was like, this guy's nuts. I was like, this guy is a goofball and he's nuts. And then he kind of grew on me, and then I got to know him better, and then I've met with him, and I actually have been networking with him and referred people to him, and he's referred people to me, and he really has a love for helping others and helping others grow, especially in sales, and helping someone that's a self-employed individual like look inside themselves and figure out, okay, did you make those 20 calls today that you should have made? You didn't? Well, that's why you don't have any business right now. So, I mean, he's just really good at that. He's good at motivation. He has a different delivery, but he's just awesome. And he started and I felt honored because he asked me my opinion and got some feedback on it and started some happy hours. And his goal is to grow them monthly around the area. And so I actually am a part of his first Monday of the month happy hour for real estate agents and or just real estate industry. And so it's been an interesting ride with him, but he's very good. If you need and you want to improve your SEO and where you're at in Google and people to find you if they look for Allen Realtor or Plano mortgage lender, he's the guy to go to. He knows his stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. All right, Mark, tell me a little bit about Chris, and then I'm going to bring them both on. We're going to get this thing going.
Well, man, I hope you appreciated my initial introduction to Chris.
I did. I almost got that, and so I could read it back to everybody. Mark is not only a loan officer; he's a comedian part-time.
That is what I forget what the term is, but nevertheless, Chris is a man that needs no introduction. Chris Sullivan, he's a part of our real estate community here in the DFW and an influencer all across the state. He is not just a real estate attorney, but he is an amazing human being. He is a goofy ginger like me. He is big, I am small. We are a good time when we're together. And without further ado, let's bring in our guests. All
right. Well, here they are, Mr. Chris Sullivan and Sweetness, Jeremy Ozment. I love that he's got that up there. So, fellas, I want to give you both a chance to introduce yourself to our audience today and let our listeners and our viewers know who you are and what you do. And then we're going to get into a little bit of this Q&A that we do, and which I'll include Mark and Kindra in as well, and just some background and insight into who you are other than just what you do. But let's start. I'm sorry, Chris, I've got to start with Sweetness first because I need to know where the name came from. And so I've got a ton of questions for him, but Jeremiah, I want you to go ahead and just share a little bit about who you are and what you do and how you got started with it.
Actually, Kindra did a very good job. She's amazing. If y'all haven't used her for title, you need to. Regards to the name, I'm naturally a smartass, very direct, dry sense of humor. I started various different networking events all throughout the Metroplex. A lot of people know who I am. But at one of the events I actually created, I was actually just I was being bored. You know how you go through networking. Sometimes you go through spells where you're trying to make yourself go through the motions, but you don't really want to be there, but you're there anyway.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I've been there.
So I started making a joke out of it. Say, my name is Captain Sweet with Sweet Media. Don't hate me because I'm sweet. If you like to see how sweet I am, I put my finger in tea. You'll be able to drink it too sweet. That was my 30-second commercial for about 2 months. At that time period, somebody said, "Shut up, Sweetness," about the same time. But around that same time period, I was separating myself from my Chamber of Commerce because they said they owned something when they really didn't, where I created it from scratch. Ooh. So that's when I started making my own events and everything else. And I've just stuck with the name ever since. I've actually generated 10 times more referrals since I've been going by Sweetness than not.
Right.
Because no one can forget about it. Regardless, you like me, hate me, but you won't forget me.
You're always on their mind, right? So one way or the other, always on the mind.
Positive and negative depends who the person is.
That's right. Well, that's awesome. I love that. I mean, Kindra, you and Mark both know we've had some classes together before, and one of the taglines for the difference is success favors the bold. And so Jeremiah can totally understand where you're coming from, and kudos to you for that. Let's bring Chris in now. And Chris, good to have you. Good to meet you. As I said before, kind of like what Mark said in the email introduction a week ago or a couple of weeks ago. I've heard, I've been in and around the real estate industry for a while. I've heard about you, never met you. So I'm glad to meet you today. Glad to have you on our show. Tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do. And do you have a nickname?
Well, I want one now. I don't know. I'm going to just think about that for the rest of the day because I have to come up with one now. So my name is Christopher Sullivan. Who I am. Family is the most important thing in the world to me. I am a real estate attorney. I do lender doc prep, title and escrow, general real estate and business law. we have a team that really can meet the needs of most real estate professionals. We're able to answer their questions. That's what I spend the majority of my time doing, is just meeting people, becoming their friend, and answering questions for them as they come up. And that's how we help impact their business. So just as important, family, friendship is as important to me. So that's kind of what fuels me in this business. If you're not someone that I want to be friends with, and I'm probably not going to work with you just because I get bored. So I really enjoy the friendship aspect of what we do. And that's a little bit about me. I'm the oldest of six now, oldest of six. I have 2 adopted sisters, and been in Dallas for like 8 years now.
Okay. So I've got a follow-up question for you, Chris, because I completely understand what you're talking about making friends and building those relationships. How important is it to you? Do you think that sometimes in our community and in our culture that we have professionally, that we try to be too much for too many people? And sometimes it makes our business a little bit better if we find those that share those core values that we have, and it's a better synergy in working. Do you buy into that? Is that something that's important to you?
Yeah, I do, because if you are able to form a deep relationship with someone, the first time something goes wrong in a transaction, their first response isn't going to be angry at you. It's going to be to try to figure out a solution. And that's what I found in every aspect of my business is the deeper I go with someone, the more likely I am to have longer lasting business relationships. So there's nothing more important, in my opinion, than going as deep as possible with the people that you work with.
Good answer. I love that. All right. So let's get into some questions that I want to talk about. And I want this for all of you, not just our 2 guests today. So Kindra, Mark, I want you to participate in this. First question that I'm gonna throw at you. What did you want to be when you grew up? That's my first, because you know what? I rarely find the person that says what I'm doing right now is what I wanted to do when I was 5 years old.
I know one.
I've hard. Do you know somebody?
I know one.
Okay, because I have yet to find that person. So we'll go ladies first. Kindra, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an attorney. I did. And so the funny part is I'm not really working. Well, my middle child is starting his 2nd year law school. So, and interning right now. So one of my kids followed my dream, but yeah, so I wanted to be an attorney, and got a poli-sci, degree from UT in Austin. But what's interesting is that carries over into my love of the contract in real estate, and really enjoying the intricacies of it, and just being able to help the agents with it. So that's kind of, I get it. I get the contract. I get the funky wording and the stuff, and so I enjoy it.
So you're kind of like a contract nerd then, right?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah.
Jeremiah, what about you? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I want to have the opportunity to own multiple different companies, and I pretty much already have. So I just want to be able to provide as much value as possible to help everybody that actually don't know where to take things, and show them how to be more profitable. It's fun.
Awesome. Yeah, it is. And I got a great follow-up question to that a little bit later, because that is going to lead me into, you did a great job of giving me a segue there. But Loan Officer Mark, what about you? What did you want to be?
Man, I was going to be a ball player.
Awesome.
It never worked out. I got used to being the smallest guy on the team, but I wasn't willing to put in the hours and the discipline that it takes to be a professional. And I think everybody on the stage knows what I mean when I say that. And it means different things to different people. But I think at the end of the day, that's what it was.
Yeah. No, I get it. Chris, what about you?
My mind changed a lot. I wasn't able to figure that out until I was I still don't know what I want to do, frankly. I'm going to say that I'm still deciding, but I think a veterinarian is what I wanted to be when I was youngest because that's what my dad is.
Okay.
He's a vet back in our hometown in Louisiana. So I think a veterinarian. And then I realized that I had tremors in my hand. So like my hand shook too much. I'm like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to like do surgery on a dog. So then I decided, and then I realized that I hated science. That was kind of a detriment. So that wasn't going to work for me.
Big obstacle there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now I did just hear a little rumor on Clubhouse that allegedly of all attorneys, real estate attorneys are the happiest. And so I don't know. And I started thinking about it. It's like the only real estate attorney I know is Chris. And this guy's always got a smile on his face. So I know that anecdotal evidence is 100% right. So Chris, what's your take on that? Because I know it's a stressful career, man. It
can be. I would say that real estate attorneys probably are the happiest. As long as they're not involved in litigation. They're probably, if they're transactional, they are the happiest.
Yep.
Especially if they're in title and escrow, because then really they're not really attorneys. They just get to talk to people all day. And that's what I do. So.
And answer crazy questions about all kinds of crazy scenarios that come up.
Yeah, so that makes me happy. I think it's correct, Mark. Real estate attorneys are the happiest.
Rumor confirmed.
That's awesome. So I want to go back now to Jeremiah, because kind of what he said, where he got started and what he's always wanted to do, kind of what he's living out his dream now. Jeremiah, was there an inspiration for you? Did you have family that were entrepreneurs, professionals, or what was it that built that fire in you that made you want to be what you wanted to be then and what you are today?
Well, I grew up in a small business. So my family owned a gutter company. We also owned a cast iron loop business, a gas station, waste management company, and a few other companies within the family. I'm the last entrepreneur of the family. But when you're 8 and you're told you had to go clean a warehouse because you got to get ready for the next day, or you don't get to eat because you can't collect receivables, you get to appreciate hard work and a different mentality. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
No, it does. Absolutely, it does.
I have a huge appreciation for a lot of things that people go through each and every day. That's why I have pretty much I like to put I'm a little bit more direct than what a lot of people are accustomed to, and a little bit probably more harsh than I probably should be because of being abrupt. But the thing is, all my intentions are always pure when people find out who I am, which makes it easy and actually easy to communicate because I'm looking for ways to duplicate and grow. Hopefully that makes sense.
It does. It absolutely does. So I'll start this next question with you since you're already up.
That's fine.
Who was your inspiration? What has been an inspiration? Looking back over from when you can first remember, what has been one of the most inspiring things for you to be who you are today? Is it a person? Is it an event? What might it be?
That's a little more challenging. There's a lot of things I've studied when I was growing up, like Think and Grow Rich. I love that mentality. But it's more studying the the Rockefeller family, as well as the Carnegies.
Okay.
More than anything else. How they actually figured out how to do vertical monopolization as well as horizontal, depending on which type of vertical you're looking at.
Yeah.
The way they actually were able to do that, then actually give back to a lot of the nonprofits and everything that they have created since. It's truly powerful and inspirational.
Okay. So would you consider yourself a deep strategist? Is that something that kind of like what Kindra was talking about with the contracts and everything like that? Do you kind of nerd out on strategies and processes and stuff?
I nerd out on business. So unlike how Kindra likes to talk about contracts, I find it extremely boring. No offense, Christopher or Chris. Personally, you tell me a new business model. Like I was working with this person the other day. In less than 2-3 hours, I was able to figure out how to take them from making no money to be profitable within 6 to 9 months because I was able to rip their entire industry apart against all the competition. That's fun. But not everybody looks at businesses the same way as I look at it, because when you start looking at it from marketing, sales coaching, operations, and everything else, logistics, It's a different approach. But that's what I enjoy the most. I like consulting a lot, but the thing is I make all my money in SEO.
Right. So let's talk real quick about the coaching aspect of it. What some of the biggest challenges that you have as a business coach with when you're trying to help other entrepreneurs and small business owners?
The biggest challenge for majority of people, even like when I first met Kindra and a variety of other people that's in this area, the hardest is for everyone is first determine what their why is. Why are they actually doing what they're doing? Once they determine their why is actually then supporting that with the value that they believe they actually have, possess, and offer to the clientele. Majority of the people, when I work with them individually, networking wise, professionally, whatever, I focus more on the value side of things, probably 60 to 80%, because have you ever heard of the book, something called The Go-Giver?
Yeah.
Okay. In their book, they talk about the stratified success, and it's on the 5 laws of value, stratified success: value, large compensation, influence, authority, as well as reciprocity. Whenever I actually tore it apart, if I had to write a perfect book, that would have been my perfect book I would have wrote, because when I was listening to it, I felt like I was preaching to myself, but I didn't realize I could never put it into that context, if that makes sense, until I actually heard it. But then when I actually was able to visualize it, it was actually made all my other forms of communication and my business actually explode in other avenues, because I was able to visualize every single thing with all the spider webs of relationships, how they actually all interconnect.
Okay. Awesome. Let's go to Chris now. Chris, tell me a little bit about who was your inspiration as you were growing up, or what led you to where you are now? Maybe it's an event, maybe it's a person, but we all got somebody that kind of just sticks with us and you know, we kind of feel like has a big part to play in where we are today. Do you have someone like that?
I've had a lot of that. Family mostly. My grandpa ran businesses, and my dad did. My uncle and cousins have all been quite successful, so I saw that growing up. So it was a mixture. My grandpa ran a feed and western wear store after he moved back home, and he ran gas stations before that, before opening up the feed and western wear store, and was executive with Allstate for that. My dad has pretty successful veterinary practices in Louisiana. And then my uncle and cousin, their mortgage business, and have done pretty well for themselves. But I would say probably the most influential has been my grandpa and my dad. Those two taught me a lot about how to treat people. They've been the biggest influences in my life, because of them, I treat my employees like family. I do everything for them like they're, you know, my brothers or sisters. So for me, that is, I know, you know, I can be successful because they've been successful. I've seen it done. But I think the biggest thing that they taught me is to take care of the people who take care of you.
That's awesome. You know, with what Jeremiah said and what you said, you know, both being family, that kind of was your model. And, it kind of establishes a culture, doesn't it? That it's kind of easy to duplicate or replicate, maybe is the word I want to say, but establishing that culture within our own businesses and with the way we treat our clients or our customers or whatever it may be. When it all comes back to culture, that's part of being relational. Kindra, what about you? I know you've shared this with me before, but I want you to share it with anybody that may be watching today.
I'd say probably some of the women in my life. My grandmother, who always believed in me no matter what. Also a principal at my children's elementary school who gave me my first real job back into the workforce after being a stay-at-home mom for 15 years. I started as an assistant PE teacher at Bledsoe Elementary. Loved it. Just don't like the classroom, but love PE. But Beverly Woodson, she was just an amazing woman, and also that our superintendent of school district at that time, because not only was I teaching, but I was also president of Frisco ISD PTA Council. So I had to deal with all 55 at that point in time. 55. There's probably 65 or 73, about 70-ish schools now. But then there was about 57 PTAs, and so I was in charge of all of the moms or all of the presidents, and then their boards, and then my own board to work with, and at the same time was working. And so felt really honored that they encouraged me, allowed me to do so. And it just kind of brought my eyes as to what I can get done and do. But also when I got into real estate, my team lead at my second brokerage was Jackie Dorbritz, and she's still a dear friend. We've known each other from junior league days in Plano. And, but she was my team lead, and she knows how to get it done. She's the type of agent that you watch and you listen to, and she knows her stuff. She just encouraged me, and even some of the words she would say in her little, just comments in her little Jackieisms, basically they still stick in my head to this day. And those are just some of the people probably that really motivated me the most to know that I could become what I wanted to become. Because I have later in life, for a few different reasons, had to recreate myself and find a career. And I feel very lucky that I am in the career I am. I love it. I love sales. I love real estate. And so I feel really fortunate that I'm in title with Fair Texas Title. And so some of those women just helped me along my way. They truly did.
Well, you guys are really setting up my questions. I'm going to go to Mark now, but then I'm going to come back to you, Kindra, on that one. Mark, share with us a little bit about your story.
Yeah. Well, you, Lyndon, and I'm sure some of the listeners here have heard my story, so I'll keep it brief. I'm a first-generation immigrant, so I not only moved to America, but saw my parents do it and saw their transition. And guys living in a country for 40 years and not speaking another language, and then moving to another country and then making a living out of it. And I mean, taking advantage of the American freedoms that we all, in a reality, for the most part, take for granted. My parents, they're my true heroes. My grandpa, I mean, without him, I don't know where the line goes. He was an orphan because of the Holocaust and the Nazis going through Ukraine. And so he's been a massive inspiration to me. There have been, throughout the seasons in my life, I've had very important people that I've relied on and looked to for advice and for counsel, and heard their stories and listened to their both wins and their losses, and really try to extract as much of it as I can without going through it myself. And so those are the ones that I would highlight. But for everybody else, there are a lot of special people in my heart, and you guys know exactly who you are.
That is so. If for any of you out there that don't know Mark and haven't really heard his story, I encourage you to reach out to him, because it will help you put things in perspective with your own story. Because there's when you talk about perseverance, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. When you talk about perseverance and determination, where life has led him and where he is today, I have nothing but just high regards and respect for you, Mark. And, I've said this before, and I'm not embarrassed to say it again. There's a lot of people born in this country that don't have near the appreciation for this country that you do. And I want to say thank you for who you are and all that you've done for yourself, your family, and what you continue to do for the people that you work for, man. You're an inspiration for me. That's why I ask you all the time. I want to hear your story every time I'm around you. I get chills, and I'm like, yes, it puts me back in perspective and gives me the fight mentality again. So, Kindra, I want to come back to you because you talked about recreating yourself. And I don't know an entrepreneur out there that at some point in time hasn't had to recreate. Sometimes we call it rebranding. There's a million different things that we call it. But what I want to know now, because these are things that I love, I want each one of you to share a story of determination and perseverance. It can be you. It can be someone else that you've known. It can be a family member. It can just be someone. Right now, if you are in the real estate market, most everything you do is determination and perseverance, from what I'm understanding. Just to get an offer accepted it comes down to determination and perseverance from what I'm hearing. But I love these stories, and that's what everybody. And I've shared this story before when we first started The Difference. One of my college friends that I hadn't talked to in forever, he messaged me one day and he said, man, I started watching your show and today I'm really glad that I did. He goes, I was just ready to give up and quit. I've been trying this business. It's just been hard for me. And I just don't feel like I was getting any traction. And today I listened to a story of one of your guests and it inspired me to keep going. 3 days later, he called me back and he says, man, I just got the biggest contract I ever got in my life. If I had quit 2 days ago, it would have been over. It would have been over. And that's when I knew, I'm like, I love my job. If we can do that for anybody,
bro,
it's crazy because it works that way, right? You know, we all have been in a place at some point in time where we're like, is it worth it? Am I in the right spot that I need to be? Am I really serving in the way that I want to feel fulfilled? And for some reason, we push that one more day. A lot of times it's just our family. Just, you know, we want to do it for our family. But I want you guys to share your stories now because I think that we all have seen it. Heck, it may just be a movie on television like Rudy or something like that. But Kindra, I want you to go first.
So at 51, I found myself pretty much on my own for the first time ever, and needing to change careers, really start a true career that would allow me to basically support myself and to help my 3 college-age sons. And basically, I, at that point in time, had been a realtor for 3 years. I had gone to work for a home builder and parted ways with them due to just differing of how they treated clients when the clients lost their jobs and had to move back across the world, literally out of the country, and not wanting to give money back. And they did because they were going to get sued by brokerage. And I just decided was that point in time was when things went south fast personally, and I needed to figure out what I wanted to do. And I took somewhat of a pay cut because I could have gone back to work with 2 other builders that I was hired with, but I decided I needed a life. And because I was going to be going through such a tough time, I knew I needed something more than not having my weekends ever with home builders. And so I went to work for an insurance company, for Payne Insurance Group in McKinney, Dustin Payne, and love him. And I was his business development, and they stuck me in the office for 8 weeks, and they put up with me for 8 weeks. I had my insurance license, and then they'll tell you this, that they literally said, get her out of here. That's crazy because I don't sit still well. And they're having an outside sales person sit in the office and service accounts and learn everything she could. But it helped because then I was able to go meet with lenders and realtors and bring in the business and bring in the residential and even the commercial contracts. And and then I went out with Dustin for a while and was on my own and loved it. But I knew in my heart, as from the time when I was in real estate as a realtor, that title was where I wanted to be because it incorporated everything that I was good at when I volunteered. It incorporated getting to know people, figuring out what they needed. It incorporated somewhat entertaining people. It incorporates doing some special events, the classes, networking, reaching out to people, and getting to know people. And but it was struggle because I didn't have work experience. For 15 years, I volunteered, and I had some really good volunteer gigs, but it doesn't look, the same as employment. And so I had somebody took a chance on me with another title company before I came over to Fair. And it was a gentleman named Pete Dunlap, and it was due to 2 women that were working for him and now we're on their own as notaries, who I love dearly. And they took a chance, and I flourished, and I knew I would because it's just I love the industry, and I love being able to help people grow their business. One of the things I learned during this whole time was that I was stronger than I thought I was, because my sons were the ones that told me. They're like, Mom, you're the strongest person I've ever known. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not strong. But to them, I was, because I showed perseverance.
Right.
And showed that I could get it done. And
That's
that
awesome.
even when I got knocked down, and I did get knocked down, trust me, with the best of them, that, that I could still get it done.
Well, Kindra, I've known you since you were with Dustin over at Payne Insurance. I've watched you go through this, and I can say that I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
And, for people out there that are looking to partner with the people that don't give up. That's what I would always say. Get to know them, because it's those fighters that you want on your side, when you're going through it. Chris, share with us a little bit of a story that you have about determination and perseverance. You're an attorney, man. You got to have plenty of those.
I don't. I mean, this is a very difficult question. Some stuff's too personal to share, but probably one of the hardest. 2019 was probably the hardest year of my life because I had issues at home with my wife just because of how much I worked, and then my grandpa also died that year, and he was the person I looked up to more than anyone. Still, destroys me.
Right.
But just trying to want to do stuff after that. It was a very rough year. And then 2020, I brought someone in to try to, a close friend to try to help me grow the title business. And then he ended up leaving and going back to doing real estate. And so it's just been hit after hit. It basically the entire process of trying to grow as much as I want to grow is just an everyday struggle to try to keep the ship going that way, because I feel like the ship doesn't keep going without me waking up every day and deciding that I'm going to make sure it keeps going. So
Right.
Just every day is kind of perseverance, because I have this big dream of what I want to build, but it's hard. I have really good people that are doing it with me, but it's still very hard because I don't have, I guess, enough of those good people. And so it's just really hard to try to grow as fast as I want to go, especially when personal stuff goes on.
Right.
So, and now the personal stuff this year is I have my first child, born 4 weeks ago. So
All right.
now I'm being slowed down, but for a good reason. So it's just very interesting to try to continue to move the ship forward whenever you've got personal stuff going on every day.
It is, and I want to say thanks for being so raw and honest with us, because it is tough. And when we do these shows, we do them for our communities and for the consumers in the communities, but we also do them for those other small businesses out there, because sometimes we get caught in a bubble. We get caught in our own business bubble, and we're trying to run everything. We're trying to be the janitor and the CEO and the salesperson and everything, and we don't realize. I mean, we see everybody's highlight reel on social media, right? Everybody's on vacation. Everybody's having a grand old time. They're making lots of money, driving big cars. In Texas, they may be big trucks, whatever it may be. And we think, man, am I just a failure? Why is it so damn hard for me? And everybody else seems to be just breezing through life. And Chris, when we take the time to share that it's not always easy, it's not always been easy, I think a lot of times that's where those other, kind of like what I shared about my friends, that's that one thing they hear that gives them the determination to fight one more day, and sometimes one more day is all it takes. So, Sweetness, it's your turn, man. I want to, and you know what? You probably have a unique. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but being a business coach, I'm sure you see determination and perseverance all the time. Not just with you, but it's probably all around you, right?
Well, it depends. It depends on who you're talking about. So I can give you probably a dozen stories that I worked people went through the situation to make them successful. But honestly, the perseverance side of things, it's a matter of choice more than not. So I will tell you all a story about me and just make it easy. And Kindra knows the story, so she's going to laugh her ass off, so it don't really matter. So about 3 years ago, I moved over to the McKinney area. Came over here, no one knew my name at all. Working, trying to get everything around. I'm very social. A lot of people, even though I'm social, everybody think I'm actually got my stuff together. Going through the motions. I'm always productive, regardless of where I go. But one morning I woke up because we had a car crash a few years before where it mentally screwed me up in the head. And I didn't realize I was sleeping at the wheel for the last 2 years of my life without doing everything I needed to do. So one morning I woke up, laying in bed, realized I was being a shithead and wasn't actually going to accomplish nothing unless I made the choice to be productive, if that makes sense.
Right.
But from that moment, I took myself at every single affiliate marketing company you can say, turned the gasoline into my business, and I've been pretty much double my growth every year since. But
That's awesome.
it's just strictly what I find when I work with everyone individually, business owners alike, for what I do for a living, or if I work with them individually, it's always come down to a choice. Either they're going to be the victim or they're going to be the victor. And what do they choose? I mean, we got the gingers over here. I mean, the guy that's I think the ginger, like the baseball player, I think there's more gingers pitchers than not, I believe. I might be wrong on that statistic. And the other guy I can relate to, but it's just always come back to a choice. I mean,
it is. Let me ask you this. You know, when in so many of the shows that we do, and we get to talk, you know, like I talked to over 600 people last year in our shows, and I get to hear these commonalities that they have. And, you know, everybody, success kind of has a certain defined set of characteristics. It really does. If you look at the elite successful people, they're all going to have a lot in common. Right. And one of the things that I really believe, and Jeremiah, tell me if you think I'm close to this, mindset is one of the best or the basic fundamentals that you need as an entrepreneur, because most people get into working for themselves thinking, kind of like what I said, they're looking at all the highlight reels on social media, right? Oh, this guy's a real estate agent and he gets to go on 18 vacations a year and blah, 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 blah. They don't go into business thinking about all the bad, almost a bad word, all the bad stuff that's going to happen. They don't. None of us do, really. But if you've got to have that mindset to go, it's going to be great when it's good, but I've got to be tough as nails when it's bad, and I can't give up, and I've got to push through. I mean, is that something that you see in working with businesses so much?
Well, yes, in many regards. But the one thing I will tell you, and one thing that's actually worked for me very well, is when you have somebody you can actually be very honest with, be open with, and that is truly has your best intention at heart, that'd be your accountability partner. For everyone that's stuck at actually keeping their mind straight, accountability partners actually will help grow and actually make them more victorious faster than anything else. But it's a matter of actually being open with yourself, saying that you are not the most profitable, that you're not the most disciplined, that you need guidance, that you need help. Like what Chris was talking about with all his stuff regards to his family, I mean, for him to share that, he actually had to share it with someone else to actually have him find someone that wanted to actually hold him accountable to actually produce to get to the next level, or he wouldn't be here today. He would close his shop. And for being a first immigration, and for being a first immigrant like Mark from Russia, I mean, he's gone through everything hell in a handbasket. But it's back to a choice. You had to find people that you can roll with. I call this your circle of influence, but I call it my extended family. So I have a philosophy that I preach is iron sharpens iron. It's a Bible philosophy that some people understand, but to me, it's not really meant for religious. In my opinion, it's a way of life. Right. The better we get as individuals, the more value we add to ourselves, to our family, to our business, and community. Keyword community. There's not enough people nowadays that actually taking care of the people in our area. If somebody's falling short, why not just actually give a handout and actually pick them back up and give them the skills that they need to be successful? I mean, you know how many people that are begging or actually trying to get opportunities that want to learn, that actually want to produce? Let's not talk about all those people who actually just want to collect a free check.
Right.
I need to talk about them. I'm talking people who want to produce.
Right.
I mean, perseverance is all around us. It's just a matter of, do you surround yourself with that mentality?
Right. Agreed. You got to have that support group. That's very, very important. So we're running up against some time right now. I do want to mention real quick, if you guys will give me just 1 second, I want to pop up one of the sponsors of our show. I want to talk a little bit about Mr. Greg Holberg. He's actually a co-host on one of the shows. I think he'll be on next week. And Greg he has Liberator Health Insurance. And for those of you that are self-employed entrepreneurs, you know how hard it is to find insurance sometimes, or affordable insurance. And you have the Affordable Health Care Act, and then you have some others. Greg gives a great option to those, an affordable option to those. And, you know, his Liberator deal of the week this past week, it was a 29-year-old man, uses tobacco, got great coverage for about $135 a month. And I encourage anybody out there that feels like they're paying too much for health insurance, and I don't know anybody out there that doesn't think they're paying too much for health insurance, to contact Greg. You can reach him at 214-886-4688 or online, www.liberatorhealthinsurance.com. It's Greg Holberg. Let him explain to you how to save money on your healthcare cost, because he can do it in a way that I have not seen anybody else do it before. And I kid everybody all the time about how boring our occupations are. No one cares to hear about how a mortgage is done. No one cares to hear how title's done. Bless your heart, Chris, you're an attorney. You know, and Jeremiah, being a coach, we all want to, I'm not going to say we all want to be coached. We all need to be coached, but not everybody wants to be coached or is coachable. But then I pick real hard on the insurance company because none of us want to hear about insurance. But Greg has a gift to be able to explain insurance in a way that's actually interesting. And it makes you feel smarter about the whole process when you're done. So want to thank Greg and appreciate him for sponsoring Real Talk with Brian Poduska today. We've got about 8 minutes left. I don't have any questions. Kindra, do you have any? Mark, do you have any? Or does anybody have a story or anything that they would like to share?
I mean, I've got stories for days, and I have mixed feelings about stories. I think some stories can resonate and bring things out of people that they never thought they had within them. And I think some stories are the stories we tell ourselves in our head that do way more damage than you could even imagine. I mean, sure. My story as I was listening in is, I mean, it's really just an ongoing daily discipline of working on yourself. And as Marshawn Lynch says, on your mentals. And if you do that and you do that consistently with time, you just become a different person. If somebody told me when I was moving here as a young buck, 25, 26-year-old, that I was going to take on a brand new market without knowing anybody, I would have told you were insane. But somehow through daily discipline, through working on myself as a leader, as a person, as a man, as a producer, like Sweetness so eloquently put, all of that comes with just the experience and you doing it. And I say it all the time, and I recently found myself in another comfort zone, and I cannot stand comfort zones. And so really, I mean, that's my story, is how quickly and how often can I throw myself outside of it and sink or swim. And that's really what's been my journey since I came here. I knew mortgage, I knew homeowners. I did not know purchase. I did not know realtors. I had closed 2 purchase deals in my life. And I said, I'm going to go to a brand new, never mind city, but a brand new state. And I'm going to be self-employed in referral business. Sometimes, guys, you just got to be dumb enough to say you can't.
Or ballsy, one or the other. I don't know which one it is. I want to say this about you, Mark, and you know, I got to know you several years ago, and one of the things that impressed me about you, and I'm saying this for people that are listening, because if you're looking for a loan officer, these are the type of things that #make the difference. They really do. I have never seen anybody as obsessed as you are at self-improvement. It's not just a daily, it's an hourly thing. Every time I go into Mark's office, every time we talk, he's giving me these things that he's read, excuse me, or that he's involved in, that is not only for self-improvement, but professional development. And, you know, as a business development strategist, I try to help people understand that's who you want to partner with, whether that's who you're hiring or that's who, you know, you're going to partner with as a professional. Give me the people that are looking to improve on a daily basis, because we can, kind of like what Jeremiah said, that iron sharpens iron. If they're sharpening themselves, they're going to sharpen you too. So I wanted to throw that in there. So anybody else?
I didn't mean to get you all choked up, London. I'm sorry.
Man, I'm fired up. I am.
So
I got to go read. I got to go read a book. I got to find me a new book to read.
I met Mark a couple years ago, and we've kind of see each other here and there, and we're going to have the opportunity to work again together with classes for our agents. And what you said was true, Lyndon, because one of the things about Mark, it's like he's constantly trying to evolve and get out there what the agents need, what the public needs, and trying to simplify as well as just make it so that he's in front of them. And that's also why I'm so blessed to be at Fair Texas Title, because I was another title company and they were a top 500, Fortune 500 company, and I learned a lot there. However, their mentality is more transactional, where I'm at now, it is transactional because it's real estate, but it's about relationship building. And the expectation is for me to build those relationships and to keep those relationships. But not only they give me the tools and they listen to us as to what the agents need or what I need. Like I'll be given something from an agent that they saw from a friend that's an agent down in Austin, and it was about a map, and it was a different map that kind of broke down the MLS and broke down home listings. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. And so it's like we're constantly evolving to try to give our agents things that they need to stay in front of their sphere and to be that agent that wins the contract, number one. And that's one of the things that I love to be able to do is help agents out with figuring out how to win that contract and talking through why they haven't won 2 or 3 contracts, or if they've made many offers where if they're not winning them, they're not doing something right. There's something
right.
And it's dissecting that and going backwards and figuring out what they're doing or not doing to win it. And a lot of it is just pure and simple communication. If the other agent on the other side won't pick up the phone, then text them, email them. But being just that pure and simple communication is what really, really is helping in today's market, because it is a crazy market. It is different. We've never seen anything like it before. So
right. Well, we're about out of time. Before we go, I do want to mention the host of the show that unfortunately wasn't able to make it in today. He did try to dial in and couldn't get a good signal. As you look across, do what?
Swatted him away.
I know you did.
Now.
I know. Yeah, you got him now though. But I want to give a special shout out to Brian Poduska of Real Property Management Focus. Brian's phone number is 469-820-0088. Brian, if you're an investor, if you own some properties, if you're looking at buying and investing into properties, I would encourage you to give Brian a call. If you've ever seen any of his shows, you'll know a little bit about him. I mean, he's a genuine guy. He is a northerner, but we overlooked that. We've welcomed him into Texas now, and real good friend of mine. But he takes care of the people the way you're supposed to. He's a good asset to have if you have investment or rental properties. So give Brian a call and want to thank him. Sorry he couldn't be with us today. Jeremiah, love your nickname, Sweetness, and glad you could be here. Chris, good to finally meet you, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you both for sharing so much with us. Mark, Kindra, same with you guys. It's always so good to be able to meet, some inspiring people. And that's really what the difference is all about, is bringing that inspiration. And today we were able to do that. So I guess that's pretty much it from all of us here at The Difference and Real Talk with Brian Poduska. 2:00 on Thursdays. We'll be back next week. Brand new co-host. I'm pretty sure that Brian will be back with us, and then we'll have some new guests as well. But thanks everybody for being on today. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
thanks, Lyndon.